Hey, Hasan, please give us your take. I mean, it's the same as the dudes who dapped up the Hamas dudes. The dudes who dapped them up in the first ceasefire, do you not remember? And everybody freaked the out about it, and they were like, oh, they must be drugged. Hamas is giving them drugs.
They literally are. They literally are. They did. Like, multiple hostages that were released confirm this.
Hamas gave them the drugs that make you dab up Hamas.
That drug is called a gun to your head. And it's so painfully obvious of a concept, I feel nauseated even having to say it.
All right, Ethan Klein says he will never forgive Hasan Piker.
Hi again, everyone. I'm back with a little update for you guys regarding Hasan. First of all, I want to thank everyone for watching the content nuke and enjoying it. And I'm glad to see that a lot of people have really read.
How many views has the content nuke racked up? 3 million so far. Not bad.
Resonated with the message. One of those people, unfortunately, is not Hasan Piker, who has continued to spread Hamas propaganda and even elevated his brazenness. Take, for example, the tragic story of the Bibas family. The dad, 2 kids, and the mom were all taken hostage on October 7th after the grandparents were murdered in their home. The children, 8 months and 3 years old, was kidnapped with their mom, and the dad was kidnapped separately. Hamas murdered the children and their mom in captivity, and recently just returned their corpses to Israel. Let's take a look at how Hasan reacted to this tragic update.
As music blares, Hamas fighters carry the coffins of 4 dead Israeli hostages, 2 of them children, the youngest to have been abducted on October the 7th. On stage, an offensive propaganda message blaming Prime
Offensive propaganda message? Offensive propaganda message? Offensive propaganda message?
The war criminal Netanyahu and his Nazi army killed them with missiles from Zionist warplanes.
Hasan has it in his heart somehow to laugh at the coffins of 2 slain children at the hands of a violent terrorist organization. According to the forensic experts, the children were strangled to death, murdered at the hands of Hamas, likely because they didn't know how to take care of 2 young kids in captivity for 2 years. So instead of taking care of them, they chose to murder them.
The war criminal Netanyahu and his Nazi army killed them with missiles from Zionist warplanes. What are we doing?
To be charitable to Hasan, I don't think Hasan was laughing at the coffins. He was laughing at the suggestion that this is just simply propaganda. So, like, I assume that Hasan is very eager to believe that these Israeli hostages were killed because of Israeli bombs or whatever.
Doing? There is no lie here. This is correct.
Hasan wants us to believe that the only...
How does he know that? Beyond Hamas telling the world that the reason why these 2 babies got killed was because of the bomb. How could he possibly know that? I could understand being skeptical. That I can understand. Like, you know, is it possible that they were killed in the bombings? Yeah, sure, that's possible. But Hasan is proceeding with a level of certainty here that defies logic. Why would you just take at face value anything that Hamas has to say about this? If Hamas did murder these kids, what do you think that they would do when they released the bodies? Exactly this. They would never just release the bodies and be like, well, here you go, because it makes them look bad if they're killing babies, right? And so if they had killed these babies, this is exactly what they would do. They would do like a massive like propaganda thing and blame Israel for it. And Hasan's like, well, obviously Israel killed him with the bombs. Like, what?
The only thing wrong with this is that they called him a Nazi, right? Obviously, it's the way that they're parading around this family of these murdered children, these innocent children. Can he really not see the tastelessness in this, the disrespect? Take a look at his chat. It's no better. The truth is offensive. Hamas has the best fits. To the slain Israeli family, rip bozo. How do I get that poster? They snapped on that. That mural kicks ass. Dude, it was a family. Correction, settlers. Implying
that's just psychotic. Like, actually psychotic.
That children born in Israel deserve to be slaughtered. Quote, their home? Lol. It is their home. They were born there. Whose home are they in again? Their home? Yes, it's their home. They were born there. The mom was an IDF spy. They were not civilians, and they used their kids as human shields.
Oh my God. I do think that creators are ultimately responsible for the communities that they foster. And if I had this kind of element in my chat, I would seriously do some reflecting. Like, what did I say? The fact that this kind of stuff just flies in his chat so commonly is, I think, a pretty searing indictment of Hasan, in my opinion, that he fostered this kind of community. These people are completely unhinged. They're totally deranged.
I really don't even know what to say about that one. I might call this person schizophrenic, but I'm afraid this is just what happens to your brain when you watch Hasan for too long. Hamas is f***ing based, and I'm tired of people pretending they're not. Again, this is just a few examples from the 30 seconds preceding Hasan's statement. I'll let the chat run for you at the end of the video, and you can take your time to read through it to see just how vile it is. You'll notice that there is overwhelming support for the propaganda for Hamas, and zero respect shown for the dead children. Notice here, however, that one person says,
there are much fewer radicals in your chat these days, but once upon a time it was vile. No, come on. I mean, like, we definitely had some like radical lefties in the chat, because I thought that there was like an alliance. You know, during the first Trump term, there was sort of like an alliance, right? There was a very clear kind of villain in the story of the first Trump presidency. And so I got along with like communists because there was not a lot of reason for us to fight about stuff. And I agreed with a lot of them with respect to placing heavy emphasis on, you know, like raising the standard of living for low income earners in this country, which is a priority that I share. And so like, but I do remember like in 2019 or 2020, I would get on and I would be like, hey, comrades. And it was like a joke. Like I was being ironic, you know, hey, comrades. And then if a story about Jeff Bezos came out, I would make a joke about like guillotines or whatever. Like, we're getting the guillotines. I would talk about like getting the guillotine out for Hector. And it was just like an edgy, ironic joke. And then after a while, I realized that there were a few people in chat that were being dead serious. I was like, wait, hold on. You guys are serious about the guillotines? I was joking. And there was a bit of a culling. What do we call it? The communexodus? Communexodus? There was like a moment of like, there was like an exodus of like communists. There was a bit of a purging. I've had 2 to 3 cullings. No, but there was one in particular. And I think it had to do with Destiny. I'm almost positive it had to do with Destiny. Destiny did some edgy, stupid thing. And then there was a bunch of drama in my Discord too. I remember that. Like, I had a bunch of mods that were like communists or whatever. And I had a bunch of mods like coming at me super aggressive. And I was like, what the f is happening? But it was never like this, bro. I never had a chat like this. I would not have allowed that. To have a chat saying stuff like this. Like Hamas is based. Give me a break.
Offended Hasan. Watch how quickly this gets moderated out of his chat.
Yeah, including Guardian, BBC, and other Western...
There it is. It's gone.
What did he say?
Claimed, watch how quickly for the dead children. Notice here, however, that one person says defended Hasan. Watch how quickly this gets moderated out of his chat.
Yeah, including Guardian, BBC, and other Western...
There it is. It's gone.
Jesus Christ, bro. He either has a shitload of mods or he has a few mods that have just insane reflexes.
Hasan claims he has no control over how his chat is moderated, apparently. Yet, 90% of it is people celebrating the death of these kids. And the one person that has even the slightest bit of pushback is immediately moderated. After laughing over the corpses of slain children, Hasan continues to guzzle Hamas propaganda, and this reaction that I can only describe as nauseating. Take a look.
Now let's take a look at how the hostages were released. I wonder if Western media will actually show the release videos, because there was some interesting sites that were disconcerting for the Israeli state and their project overall, but let's see.
Omar was among 6 released by Hamas in Gaza this morning.
It was, I believe, confirmed after the fact that he was drugged and coerced into doing this, right?
The 6 are the last living hostages to be returned in this.
He was told to come out smiling and act very like nice to his captors and
ceasefire's first phase. The 22-year-old was paraded on stage. He'd been kidnapped from a music festival And yet, remarkably, he kissed two of the men who had been
Like, obvious propaganda, right? Like, obvious propaganda. Obvious propaganda. Like, why would that not be your first instinct to be like, this is a little weird?
I hope he said no homo after, bro. Straight up. Hey, Hasan, please give us your take. I mean, it's the same as the dudes who dapped up the Hamas dudes. The dudes who dapped them up in the first ceasefire, do you not remember? And everybody freaked the out about it, and they were like, oh, they must be drugged. Hamas is giving them drugs.
They literally are. They literally are. They did. They fucking did. Like, multiple hostages that were released confirm this.
And that's why they're dabbing him up. Hamas gave them the drugs that make you dab up Hamas. It turns out that there is
I don't know why it would probably just have been like lorazepam or something, right? Like, it probably would have been like Xanax or some kind of like sedative, right?
new, even scarier drug out there that Hamas has. It's called the drug that makes you kiss Hamas.
That drug is called a gun to your head. And it's so painfully obvious of a concept, I feel nauseated even having to say it. Here you can see the head propagandist giving the hostage instructions. The hostage looks to his side to make sure he understands. Then the propagandist leans in to explain the strategy to the two terrorists on his left. And right on cue, the hostage leans in to kiss not one, but the two of them. It's clear to anyone with a functioning brain that this was not done out of affection for his captors. Of course, we don't need to even look at the footage. Just ask the hostage what he thought. Here's the hostage who was kissing him on the head. In Hebrew, it says, I had no choice. The dogs made me do it. Hasan thought this was such a great point. He even took to his Discord to share his thoughts. First, they had the drug that makes you...
It's just so obvious. It's just so obvious. Like, anybody with two brain cells to scrape together would be able to understand the propagandistic value of that kind of a moment and captured on film. Like, what you can do with that kind of propaganda. You can take that image and then use it to bolster your message domestically. And hopefully, and Hamas is probably hoping, like, to the world, right?
Dab Hamas. Now they have one that makes you kiss Hamas. I'm losing my mind. I don't know who else to share this info with. A good place to start would be a therapist. The next best place would maybe be the NSA. More excerpts from the hostages say that they were forced to drink seawater, that they were giving rotten food, and that they were held in cages. Or, as Hasan likes to call it, hospitality. What gracious hosts they are.
Bro, every time they're releasing hostages, the next wave they're gonna be like, actually, I'm good. Like, I'm staying.
Well, I'm happy that...
Bro! My God. I never watch Hasan's content. The only bits that I get are from like Ethan's videos. I had no idea it was this bad. So bad.
That the content nuke was able to make its way around and really influence people's thoughts on the matter. I am disheartened to see that Hasan is still spreading, without any care in the world, disgusting, violent, anti-Semitic Hamas propaganda that dehumanizes Israelis and delegitimizes their suffering. As I said in the content nuke, we must always keep the plight of the Palestinians at the front of our mind. The point that I've made that is consistently lost on Hasan is that we have to care about everyone. You have to show empathy for both sides. You can't laugh over the coffins of slain Israeli children because they're Israeli. Peace has never felt further away when people like Hasan are turning people against each other, fomenting hate, disinformation, while supporting radical, reactionary, terrorist organizations. Peace happens when both sides see each other as human, recognize the humanity in each other. That's when we come together and find peace. Hasan is doing the opposite. During this war, Hasan has poisoned the minds of many young people with the idea that Israelis are evil, that they are all valid military targets, that the babies are settlers. And this is the result: laughing over the coffins of slain children, unable to spare a mote of dust of empathy for innocents that were killed in Israel. And just like a radical extremist in Israel that says all Palestinians are valid military targets, which I would condemn a million times, and I cry and my heart bleeds for all the innocents that are dying in Gaza. Why can't you do the same?
You know, I'm glad that somebody with like the size of, so the thing is like, Hasan got so big that like, it is just the case that when like, listen, I have a little bit of experience, you know, it's been a long time since 2009, 2010, right? And we're a modest stream these days, which is nothing wrong with that. I enjoy my community quite a bit. But I know what it's like to blow the up on the internet. And what happens is everybody wants to be your friend. Everyone wants to be your friend. You get enormous channels reaching out to you daily, looking for collaborations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, and Hasan reached a level that eclipsed where I was at, for sure. And, you know, once you get to that level, it sort of protects you from a lot of criticism. And so it's rare that somebody with a platform as big as Ethan's to take such a strong stance against this like insanity that we're seeing from Hasan just on the regular these days. And so I hope he keeps at it. It's well deserved, in my opinion.